In this video, we'll talk about how to protect a worksheet so that a user can only type in the cells that you've permitted them to type in, and you don't allow them to change any of the data or the formulas you have throughout the spreadsheet. So in this example, I just have a simple registration spreadsheet, and I only want the users of this sheet to be able to type in these cells right here. I've set up a lot of data validation. I have some formulas down here that's going to fill in this receipt. But again, users can only type right here. To indicate that users can only type right there, Excel has created an input style that a lot of times it's nice to use so that they recognize this is the area that they can type in. It's basically a two-step process to protect the sheet. The first is you need to unlock the cells that the user can type in. By default, every cell in Excel is locked. Now, of course, it doesn't matter that it's locked until you protect the sheet. So if I run over to the Review tab and I protect the sheet, right now I'm going to allow people to select locked and unlocked cells, but they're not going to be able to type in them. Well, remember, every cell is locked. So I can select it, but the minute I try to type anywhere on this sheet, I can't. So by protecting the sheet, you're preventing users from typing in locked cells, and by default, every cell is locked. So unprotect the sheet. Then the first step is I need to unlock the cells that the user can type in. In this case, it will be my orange cells. There's a couple ways to unlock them. One is to select them, and you can right click, and under Format Cells, there'll be a tab that says Protection, and right here is a checkbox for locked or unlocked. So there's several ways to get to this Format Cells dialog box, but one way was to right click. Another way is if you go to the Home ribbon and you click on any one of these indicators, you'll end up with that Format Cells dialog box, possibly at a different tab, but I can always go to Protection and then click that locked button right there. Another way is under, again, on Home ribbon in the Cells group, here's Format. And right here is a lock cell button. Now this one is problematic in that it's hard to tell when they're locked or unlocked. You would hope that padlock would open, but it doesn't. The indicator is the little box around it tells me that they're locked. If I click on that and now choose this again, there's no box around the word lock cell. So it's just a toggle. And it doesn't even change from lock to unlock. It always says lock cell. So really it's a subtle indicator, that little box that tells me they're locked. If I click it again, now they're unlocked. And of course I can see them by going to this dialog box, and now that checkbox is not checked anymore. So those cells are unlocked. Now when I go to protect the sheet, which by the way is also underneath this Format button, here's Protect Sheet. I've pointed out a second ago, you could also do it at the Review tab. So now when I go to protect the sheet, I do have a choice. Do I want users to be able to select lock cells? I could say no to that. They can only select unlock cells, so I hit OK. My cursor immediately jumps over to the only unlocked cells on the sheet. So now I can run up here and type any date that's valid. I can type any name. And I can just use the tab key and it will walk me through the unlock cells, and when I get to the bottom it takes me back to the top. But as I try to click on cells outside of the range, it won't let me because I unselected that checkbox about selecting locked cells. So a lot of times users will do this because they want to hide some of the formulas. They don't want to let people figure out their formulas. So you can prevent them from selecting on those cells that have formulas in them. Finally, obviously, if you want to unprotect the sheet, you just click Unprotect, or again on the Home ribbon, if you go to Format, this does toggle between the words Protect and Unprotect, so then you can unprotect the sheet. Be careful if you protect a sheet and you give it a password, you somehow need to remember the password. Where I was working, I would protect sheets once in a while, but they were only used internally in my own work environment. And so I wasn't so worried that somebody was going to be malicious to my spreadsheets. I just wanted to prevent them from accidentally deleting formulas or whatever. So I would protect the sheet, but I wouldn't put a password on it. So somebody would have to deliberately go through a couple steps at least, right? They would want to unprotect it and then screw up one of my formulas, and that never seemed to be the case. So I would protect sheets. I would not put a password, and that seemed to be good enough to keep things from getting ruined by users who didn't know what they were doing. So basically, that's it. Easy to do, but you got to remember it's a two-step process. Step one, unlock the cells that you want the user to type in, and then step two is protect the sheet. A lot of times students in my classes will just do step two, which is protect the sheet, and then a user can't type anywhere because they forgot to unlock the cells. So don't forget that important step.